About 4 or 5 years ago, I was sent this Iridomyrmex purpuris queen, or otherwise known as a meat ant queen. It had a couple of larvae, some eggs, and eventually it had some pupae. Over time I watched the colony grow as it got its first workers, and eventually I expanded their nest size into some Ants Australia nests. From there we also moved the colony into the desert of Down Under, maybe a more familiar setup to you guys. However, this success of the colony eventually came to an end after I fed them this poisoned snake by accident. Here you can see one of the workers, and it's acting pretty strange after eating the snake. Ever since I fed them it, the colony's pretty much gone downhill from there. As you can probably tell from that footage that you just saw, my brother actually found me a meat ant queen, which I'm extremely excited about. However, I'll get back to her at the end of this video. Instead, I'll show you this Iridomyrmex bignelli colony. The colony had about 20 or so workers, and so I attached this pretty dodgy makeshift outworld that worked fine for the time being. The colony was pretty happy and the workers were coming along nicely. However, the end of the test tube, where the water is stored, was completely moldy. Now, a moldy test tube is the last thing that you want while keeping ants, as this drastically affects the colony's health. So, I needed to move them out of this test tube into a brand new fresh one. Once I removed their current living test tube, the moldy one, I needed to connect it to a new fresh one. However, in the process of removing it, some workers actually managed to escape, and this one here accidentally got a little bit crushed by this cotton. Don't worry, she's not squished, she's just being pushed down by it. You'll see she'll spring straight back to life once I remove it. To create the new test tube, I grabbed one and I filled it up with a little bit of water. Then I inserted some cotton into it, pushing it down with a pen. And just like that, I've created a new hygienic home for these guys. To connect the two, I use a bit of blue tack in the middle to hold them both down, and I remove the cotton. However, you may be able to see that I pretty much stuffed this up and some of the ants began to escape. After this, you wrap some more blue tack around it, and you're pretty much set to let them move into the other side. As the days went on, the colony didn't make too much progress. They actually weren't too interested in the other side. And unfortunately, one day I woke up and they'd accidentally pulled the cotton stopper, which let all this moldy fluid flood over the colony, ultimately killing the queen and many of the workers. Although that was quite upsetting, we still have something that we can look forward to, which is our meat ant queen. I've decided to move her into this Waitong formicarium from Ants Australia. I think it would be pretty cool to raise a queen in a little claustral chamber type scenario, rather than just your regular test tube, so I thought this would be the perfect fit. It was a bit dusty and I wanted to clean the acrylic on both sides, just so that we could see the queen and her eggs perfectly. As you can see, it's pretty easy to take these off and clean it. All you gotta do is use the included Allen key to remove the 4 screws and you're good to go. I was now pretty satisfied with the nest. The acrylic was perfectly clear and it was time to move in the queen. I sort of just freeballed this and I sort of just let the queen run free and hoped that she went straight into the nest, and she did. To ensure that the queen was enticed to lay some eggs, I used a blunt tip syringe to fill up her hydration sponge. This provides her with some water to drink, as well as a humidity gradient within the nest. This is necessary as ants are used to moist soil that they would normally burrow into. This creates the perfect environment for her to feel comfortable and lay some eggs. I left the queen alone for a couple of days, only interrupting to hydrate her nest, and unfortunately I came back to notice 2 little eggs stuck in these craters. I knew that these eggs and any future larvae would have a better chance at survival if they were in an acrylic nest, so that's what I decided to do. I undid the bolts and cleaned any acrylic on the new nest and attached them via some vinyl tubing. I then made the acrylic nest a bit darker, and eventually she moved in on her own accord. Here you can see that she's brought a total of 4 eggs here, and 1 more over here into her new acrylic nest. That's some seriously good news. Now thanks for watching guys. If you want to keep up to date with this new queen ant, maybe you could consider subscribing or liking this video. Thanks guys, Ant Invasion out.